Rights by themselves are reasonable claims of the people. These rights can be classified into fundamental rights, human rights, as well as legal rights. Russian constitution has given right to employment as fundamental right to its citizen, whereas the Indian constitution has not even mentioned that as a fundamental right. Hello everybody. Today we will be discussing the rights. This is the second aspect of the basic principles of Indian constitution. Rights by themselves are reasonable claims of the people from the society. Okay. These rights can be classified into fundamental rights, human rights, as well as legal rights. Fundamental rights are those that are enjoyed by every citizen from the moment he is born. For example, right to life, right to speak, right to expression of thought, etc., right to movement, etc. These are fundamental rights. These fundamental rights are specific to a country. That means one country can give a citizen a fundamental right, another country can give another right to a citizen. For example, Russian constitution has given right to employment as fundamental right to its citizen, whereas the Indian constitution has not even mentioned that as a fundamental right. So fundamental rights are specific to a country. Fundamental rights are given to a citizen. If you are not a citizen of the country, you don't have any right on the fundamental rights except for right to life and something else. Further, these fundamental rights are constitutionally guaranteed and they are enforceable by judiciary. This is the basic thing about fundamental rights. When you come to human rights are those which are universally accepted for every citizen, irrespective of how they behave, what they do, what their religion, what their caste is, irrespective of that. And these human rights basically are right to life and right to life with a dignity. These human rights are internationally guaranteed, not by the courts of that particular country. For example, they may be protected by a convention of United Nations. Or yes, for example, there is a United Nations Human Rights Commission, UNHRC, which protects the human rights. The human rights are universal and they are originated in a civilized state of society. Whereas the fundamental rights are, the origin is because of ensuring a democratic or democratic polity in a society. That is the basic difference between fundamental rights and human rights. A criminal who has been arrested, his fundamental rights may be restricted, but his human rights will continue to exist even in a prison. Come to the legal rights are those rights which a person obtains only when he makes an application or they are permitted by the government. For example, the right to vote is a legal right. Every person who has attained the age of 18 years may have the right to vote, but he has to apply for the right to vote and he has to be enumerated in the voters list. Only then he can exercise his right to vote. Legal rights are those which are granted by somebody. Fundamental rights are those which are granted by a country to the citizen of its own country and enforced by the constitution of that particular country. Whereas human rights are those which are internationally accepted, every human being, irrespective of what they do and how they behave.